To item 6, F82, Gemma.
This application was considered on the 3rd of July and members concluded that the application should be refused on highway safety grounds. A suggested reason for refusal has been given on page 24 of your report. The report highlights the risks associated with proceeding with the refusal of planning permission on highway grounds, and the Highway Authority have confirmed that they have no highway grounds to recommend refusal and would not be able to defend a refusal in any appeal. I have had 2 further letters of representation, including one from County Councillor Flood, who both reiterate the concerns with highway safety. The recommendation remains one of approval as per your papers as set out on pages 24 and 25 of your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Gemma. Right, before we throw it across to members, I get these papers the same time as you do, and I've had a couple of complaints about the first section of this up to paragraph 10. Now, that particular lump of text is actually from a press release from the 17th of June, so it's widely known, or should be widely known, because it's been in the media. However, it seems to bear very little relevance to what we're discussing today. We're all aware without this of the numbers needed, etc., etc. So could members please disregard errors 2 to 10 on pages 20 and 21, please, because as I say, I think there is no relevance there between what we're talking about today and the need for them to be there. Okay? Any questions? Any problems? No? Right. Councillor Marks.
Thank you, Chairman. As I said at the last meeting, when this was first considered, there is a serious parking problem, and it will be very much aggravated by the demolition of these garages and the forecourt to those garages. It's not so much the garages, it's a very large forecourt which is used by residents in the neighbourhood to park their vehicles overnight. And those vehicles will spill out onto Beighton and onto Cambridge Way and cause a major problem, and indeed on part of Cambridge Way, which is also used as access to the college as well. And I just think the whole thing it's monstrous, and I think those who are saying it will not cause a problem need to go there at the relevant time. It's no good going there in the middle of the day because there'll be nobody there. But if you go at 7 o'clock at night, the streets will be clogged with cars. So I still maintain that they should be refused on grounds of traffic congestion and highway safety. Thank you.
Are you actually moving refusal at this stage?
I would continue to move refusal.
You're moving refusal?
Yes.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Byrne, you wish to speak?
Yes, very briefly, Chair, because I think we put our arguments very clearly at the previous meeting. Since the previous meeting, I have been up to Cambridge Way, Western Avenue and Beach Grove on numerous occasions between 7 and 8:30 of an evening, and already the congestion there is unacceptable. And if I describe it as some parking, you would not get a cigarette paper between the cars. How they get out, I have no idea. They're bumper to bumper. I think this build is going to create a monster in terms of vehicle and parking. And I'd just like to comment about the garages. A couple of years ago, Havebury put up the rents for the garages, and I don't dispute that that may have been a necessity. But lots of people gave up their garages because the Havebury did not keep up good repair to them. Lots of them were leaking, lots of them people weren't able to secure them. But I still support that we need to refuse this. And again, I am really sad and disappointed that we're able to oppose affordable housing for Haverhill, which is desperately needed. But it cannot be at any expense, and I genuinely believe, and I have been up there, as I said, 2 or 3 times, that this is going to create massive problems for residents and anyone in the new build if it was to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. Councillor Mildmay-White.
Thank you, Chairman. At the previous meeting, I had asked for details of traffic movements to the school and whether that is required as an emergency access, that back access at the top of Cambridge Way. But there was nothing in the report to tell me whether any of those details were available, Chairman.
I have had a response from Samantha Byatt, Suffolk County Council. I didn't have it at the time of writing the report, but she says there is little information on the school site access, but there are no restrictions on the school buses entering or leaving by this entrance. And she comments that, however, it's an existing problem that will not be made worse by this development.
Yep. Okay, Councillor Byrne.
Thank you, Chair. As to be a substitute, I don't know if this is the first time that we've had a report like this, which is in accordance with the decision-making protocol. So this is, if you like, a report from the officers about the risk of going against their recommendation. The risk in here, as I see it, quite clearly stated, is that there isn't no substantial planning grounds for refusal of this application. The application is likely to be appealed by Havebury, and if it went to appeal, we would have great difficulty in sustaining the reason that members have put forward for refusal, because that reason is not supported by Suffolk County Council highways. So basically, what this report is telling us that if we refuse it, it's likely to be appealed, we are likely to lose that appeal, and because we are aware of that now, we are likely to bear the costs of that appeal. So I'm afraid, I'm going to stick with what I voted last time, which is for approval of this application. I think members just need to be aware of what they're looking at here and what the risks are to the council, because that's what we're supposed to be looking at in this report. We're not reconsidering the whole application again.
True, we're not. Councillor Clifton-Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No way will I support the garages and cars taking the place of the living. Councillor Ray has largely said what I was going to say, and it is quite clearly stated in this report on page 24, column 25, that the Highway Authority does not object to this proposal. Therefore, I agree with Councillor Ray and will vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wakelam.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate we're not here to rehearse the arguments for or against the application, but I would like to support Councillor Clifton-Brown. What we're talking about here is providing housing for 6 people who currently do not have homes. We have an acute shortage of affordable houses. That is undeniable. You yourself mentioned that in the introduction. It seems to me that the principal reason that the community are objecting is because people in that community are parking wrongly. If you're going to park on double yellow lines across other people's driveways, that's not acceptable behaviour. And it's no excuse to say, oh, well, there was nowhere else to park. You just have to find somewhere. If you live in towns, I live in the centre of Bury and always have done since I moved here, there is no parking. My first 2 homes did not have parking. To be fair, the first time I didn't have a car, but my husband had a car the second time. And we sorted it out. And really, people just have to come to terms with it. It cannot be right that we put parking above homes for people. The other thing I'd like to add is support for Councillor Ray's views on the risks to the Council of losing an appeal and having costs awarded against us. We're in the middle of a budget consultation because the Council's short of money. Are we really supposed to waste that money that should be spent on services for people in fighting appeals that we're almost certain to lose? So I shall not be, I'm not sure what we're voting for. I think we should approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. At the moment we have a motion for refusal. Councillor Beckwith.
Thank you, Chair. started rambling about how we've watched in quite a number of years how democracy has gradually eroded in the local authorities, but I'll spare you that, but I think you know, as I've said it before. I've seen this site and I formed an opinion, and that's something, Chairman, that I've been trusted to do for over 19 years by people who voted for me. And so I formed that opinion because of the impact on existing residents, and I thought it was unacceptable, and I said so. The fact that someone from another authority, although you dealt with this from another authority, a cabinet member of this authority, thinks the shortage of housing should be paramount is irrelevant, and I'm glad you pointed that out at the beginning of the meeting. I'll vote against this application for the same reason as before, not because I'm stubborn, Chairman, but because I think I'm right. The right of existing residents is more important than what anybody is proposing for future residents. If Havebury would rather go to appeal than accept the democratic decision, that's unfortunate, but that's the way it's going to have to be. If the experts of this world were always right, I don't think it would be in the mess that it's in now, would it?
Thank you, Councillor Beckwith. We can always rely on you, can't we? Right, you should come back now.
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick point, just to clarify Councillor Marx's motion. Noting the comments you made, I just wondered whether, if members are intending to vote on the suggested reason for refusal in paragraph 29, that the words "and their associated forecourts" should be added after garage parking spaces on the top line.
I think it should, Chairman, yes. Did you get that? I think you should add "and associated forecourt."
Thank you. Are you happy that's added, Councillor Byrne?
Yes, Chair, and I would also, if possible, like to have an addition put in there about the entrance that is in question, which is the Castle Manor Academy entrance there. The buses and cars do use. I know that when we went up there for the visit, the vehicle that was used by colleagues had difficulty up there. So I don't think, although we haven't got a proper report on that, and I'm surprised we didn't go to the academy on that, that's where we should have gone and asked them what that back entrance is usable and should the buses be going to and fro, because I can tell you they are still using that as an entrance for the buses. So I'd like something put in there about that entrance.
Yeah, Gemma did say that they can use it, there's no restriction on them using it. The worry I've got with that is we are now adding something on there which applies to all of that area at the moment. Will apply regardless of whether this is approved, refused or such like. It's something that we can't load really on the application itself.
Okay, I mean, I'll take the legal advice on it, Chair.
Right, no more. We have it moved and seconded for refusal. All those in favour, please show. Got it. And those against? Okay, so that, sorry, Bruno.
Yeah, just reiterate for those who didn't hear, there's 3 in favour of that and 9 against, so that proposition is lost, Chair.
Right, so now we need another motion on the table. Councillor Clifton-Brown.
I'm prepared to make that motion
For approval.
for approval.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Holden? Anybody wishing to speak again? Or can we go straight to the vote? Right. The proposal is now for approval of this application. All those in favour, please show. Those against? 3.
So there are 9 in favour and 3 against, Chair, and that's carried